The I saw it was I think it was Lauren Southern on Twitter said that now's time for a deep period of introspection from the GOP, but I'm still not entirely sure that that's
She's not in any
going to
position to
happen.
call for an introspection, though, because she worships Trump just like all the other people. The introspection is Trump is a fucking cancer to your fucking political party. That's the only thing that needs to be introspected on, because otherwise, I think Republicans would be doing. If there was no Trump, I think Republicans would have won by a landslide. Right. It was his candidates that lost. It's him that's making the Republicans deeply unpopular to center-right Republicans or people in the middle. It's his throwing constant temper tantrums and shit that's hurting the polls. If he would just step aside and let DeSantis, who's doing whether you like him or not, he's an effective governor. He's an effective leader in Florida. He kicked ass in Florida, but that's never going to happen. None of the Republican leadership can say anything because there's this cloak of silence over everybody waiting for what fucking daddy Trump wants to do next. Which I'm fine with. I'm great with that. But yeah, Trump is literally rotting the fucking party from the inside out. And the Republicans have nobody to blame but themselves, or the voters, really.
Well, it's an interesting rock paper scissors dynamic because, as far as I know, I mean, even well into the January 6 hearings, I want to say even as far back as within the past 6 weeks, even after the nuclear document scandal and everything else, Trump was still, according to most polls, although now we have to question the reliability of polls these days, but he was still by far the front runner for the GOP in a primary. But like you said, he's almost radioactive. I mean, he's clearly radioactive, not even almost. He is radioactive in a general election. So it's it is this weird rock, paper, scissors thing where he will almost certainly at the current rate beat DeSantis in a primary, but would lose against him in a general.
That might change. After this, the polling and everything, or at least the betting markets, have flipped dramatically for DeSantis. And think about from now until the election. What can Trump do to improve his standing with the American public and the Republican Party? I don't think he can do anything. Whereas DeSantis has a lot that he can do in terms of how he governs in Florida, in terms of the type of leadership he provides to the Republican Party, if he has an opportunity for that. I don't know what the House is going to look like with leadership maybe changing hands. But I feel like DeSantis has a lot of different avenues that he can use to grow his stock in the Republican Party. What's Trump going to do? He's just going to keep going on Truth Social. He's going to keep crying. He's going to keep holding rallies. He's going to keep crying. He's going to keep posting on social media. He's going to keep crying. That's all he does is cries and complaints. And then maybe get more indictments, maybe go to court, maybe get more FBI showing up. Everything that he does is worse and worse and worse for him. It's like Vosh handling dramas, where every single time Vosh gets involved in a major drama, he's losing 5 or 10,000 subs. Vosh never comes out of a drama doing better than he did before. He's always losing. And I feel like Trump is the same way at this point. Every single time he's involved in some shit, he comes out looking worse. Maybe not to all the Republicans, but just enough that it's causing this schism in the party where people aren't trusting him, where independents definitely aren't trusting him, and he's rotting any of the ability of the Republican leadership to govern effectively, because you always have to look and see what Trump is going to say next.
I mean, all that sounds sound because when Trump came into American politics, he was able to successfully leverage the fact that he was politically an untested outsider, right? So there was no record against which to compare, and he was able to use that to his advantage. Hey, look, I'm not some sort of I am anti-establishment. You still argue with people to this day that that Trump is the embodiment of anti-establishmentism when in fact he's obviously not for various reasons, but now he's played that card, and he's banned off Twitter, though that might change. And I wonder if you think that might help his, his political stock, his social stock, if he's able to get back onto Twitter. You don't think so?
Somebody emailed me this. Some PhD history dude a long time ago emailed me this, and he said, if Trump, this was in 2017. This is a really old email, and I fucking deleted it. I don't have it. But he basically said, the way that all populist leadership goes is like this, and Trump will probably be the same. I wish I could find this guy's email because he was a prophet. What happens is, people are dissatisfied with the status quo. Populism starts to get really popular, and sometimes it gets so popular, you actually get populist leaders elected. And when populist leaders get elected, it's always the same thing. They come in, they realize that governing is actually very difficult. The problems are actually highly multivariate. There's not a simple solution to everything, and they get nothing done. And eventually people are like, oh, well, that was a boring experiment. And then populists lose popularity, and then people go back to traditional governance. That's what that guy said. I think it was in 2017. So it kind of seems like we've watched that play out. We kind of watched that play out with, well, not I want to say Bernie's campaign and all the people that he hired, but it seems like that's what played out with Trump exactly. He came in, he was the outsider, he wanted to do shit, and then as soon as he got there, there's a million excuses. Every problem's intractable. He can't govern effectively. There is no coalition building or anything, and now he's gone and he's just crying like a populist. There's no solutions with him, nothing going forward.
Do you think then that, if we agree that Trump is effectively tapped out in terms of political potential, he played the one Trump card, pun intended, that he had, and now you have somebody like DeSantis who, is the governor of a leading state, a major state. He won an unprecedented victory last night. Do you think that DeSantis will need, in order to unlock his own potential, the rest of Republican leadership to abandon Trump? So, like Kevin McCarthy to start distance himself from Trump, Mitch McConnell to be more outspoken against.
This is the problem. He needs them to pull off of Trump, but Trump still has an incredible sway over the Republican Party, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying that's where it's.
And look, now you've got like you literally got Trump like talking shit now about DeSantis. Like he's already starting to fight. Like this is the worst case scenario now for DeSantis. Like why? Like you don't want to be doing this shit, right? You don't want Trump.
Did you see that he tweeted on or posted on Truth Social? He's like, now that the election in Florida is over and everything went quite well, shouldn't it be said that in 2020 I got 1.1 million more votes in Florida?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, I see this on Truth Social. Yeah. So it's like, how scary is that now that Trump is going to be starting to fight with DeSantis? It's like this is like a doomsday scenario with the Republican Party.
I'm here for it. I'm with Biden. I say just sit back and let them fight each other and then pick off the wounded victor. But well,
True.
Let me know what your plans end up being for Georgia. I'll probably sneak down there.
Wait, don't you live near there, or you're a Carolina person?
I'm within 5 hours.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Yeah, and I'll have the time to do it. So just let me know, and happy to help. All right, buddy. I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah. Have fun. Be careful, buddy. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Love you too.